Vision is the art of seeing things that other people can't see.
In today's episode, Courtney and I sit down with Mike Stromsoe. Mike has been in the industry for over 35 years. He's the author of The Unstoppable Profit Producer. We're going to be getting into mindset, confidence, daily routines, and success habits. Mike's going to share his 3 P's formula for success. So with that being said, let's start the show. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. We are your hosts, Michael and Courtney Weaver, and we have a very special guest with us today, Mike Stromsoe. Mike, how you doing, man?
Fantastic, man. Blessed, fortunate, and grateful every day.
Absolutely. So Mike is fired up right now, all right? Mike just got back from a Lion's Den Live. Anybody that doesn't know what Lion's Den is, that's Mr. Sean Whalen. Lions not sheep, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Mike, we were talking and we're like, let's just get into the recording and start the buzz, baby. We got time to start
we're
the buzz.
Fired up. And you were breaking down what you were learning. And we're like, all right, it's go time. So let's just start from the beginning.
The biggest takeaway from the event?
Yeah, and Courtney and I have already been headbutting. So anyway, sorry to leave you out, Michael. If you want to get in, we can do a 3-way headbutt. But anyway.
That's all right.
Anyway, so we're talking about mindset, and our mindset's our skill set. And I said, that's the 20,000 foot level of what I took away, because I try to encourage people, man. There's a lot of noise out there. People are going to try to get into your head. They're going to try to put stuff into your head, and it will result in your actions or your lack of action, et cetera, et cetera. So we've got to protect our mindset. They talked a lot about that, but below that, they talked about the programming of our mindset and when and where was our mind programmed, right? Well, and then we started talking about the insurance agency business, and I think that's when we said, let's start recording this. So here you go. So some 36 plus years ago, I started in the insurance agency business. And when I started hiring people sometime thereafter, I thought, oh, they've got most everything I need. I can change them. I can help them change the rest of what they're lacking, right? How do you think that worked out?
Not well.
It didn't.
It didn't. Exactly. So, and that's where, what they bring to the table is what they've got. And so my quick analogy of that, they've got DNA that they bring to the table, right? And they've got the first 18 years of being raised, which created their belief cycle or their program. And then there's the circle of the 5 people they hang around with the most, if you will. Again, ongoing programming. So what I took away was be aware of your programming. But in addition to that, it's the lies that we tell ourselves. And that's probably might be the biggest takeaway. Like I said, I got 43 pages of notes because every single day, we tell ourselves something, right? And what I started saying, because I'm on a mission right now, I'm absolutely on a mission to be the best in the world at what I do. And I'm not going to rest until I get there. Is it going to be easy? Heck no. But I'm on a mission. And, I'm inspired by Bo Eason, which is where I got a lot of that. Here's a book for you. I'll repeat it just in case you're only listening. There's no plan B for your A game. And he chronicles how to be the best in the world at what you do. And it's no secret that followed my reinventing of my vivid vision for the next 3 years of our organization, which I originally developed in 2015 in Estepania, Spain, looking at the Rock of Gibraltar. And so I redeveloped that based on, the accountability from our mastermind members of our program a couple months ago up in Washington State. And so it's all happening for a reason. Okay. So super, super fired up. Back to the matter at hand. Be careful what you tell yourself. Okay. And if you tell yourself I can't or I won't or whatever it is, that's what you're telling yourself. Don't lie to yourself.
Let's dig into this though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I think that this is really important, because I think that there's a lot of Pinterest quotes out there, is what Courtney likes to always call them. And look, let's be honest, we're all going to have extremely tough days. There's going to be days where you don't want to get out of bed. There's going to be days that you're just not feeling it. There's going to be days where these voices creep up. I always say, and maybe I'm the only crazy one, but I feel like I've got two different types of personalities on each shoulder. I've got one that's like, you can do this, you can crush it, you're the best, go crush. The other voice is like, you suck, you can't do this, you're terrible, you don't belong here. And so, number one, I'd like to say that I think it's very normal that these voices creep up of the I can't, you won't do this. But then it's, how do you process this and reprogram yourself into the I can do this, I am made for this, my vision is larger than what's going on right now.
Yeah, Mike, what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm going to get so meta.
Yeah, so I agree, and I'll just give you something current and relevant. This morning, I got home yesterday and from the trip to Lions Den Live. And, Dorothy had it pegged from The Wizard of Oz. There is no place like home. And there is no place like our own bed, right? So I got in my own bed and I woke up this morning. I was really comfortable and I turned over. There's my wife. I was like, who's got it better than I do, right? So with that being said, I didn't want to get out of bed and do my exercise routine, which I do every single morning. But I can't lie to myself. I can't tell myself, well, you've been traveling, you're tired, you deserve to sleep in. That's a lie to ourselves. Because if it's part of who we are and what's going to put us in the best position to be the very best that we can be, albeit the best in the world at what we do, we can't lie to ourselves and tell us exactly what Michael said, right? And Michael, you are spot on. They talked a lot about that. And I had a conversation with a guy in the airport yesterday. We had that same conversation. Yeah, there's days that suck. And some days it sucks bad, right? But that's normal. And it doesn't make you any less of a person to say, man, I'm having a crappy day. But you know what? I'm going to get through this. Or if you say I'm having a crappy day and you decide, well, I'm just going to blow everything off because I'm having a crappy day, that's a lie to yourself. And so,
I want to break this down a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Because what I'm hearing you talk about is not an emotion, but an identity. Like this is a shift in an identity. It's not what I do, it's who I am. So when you think about this in the insurance space, I see this happen a lot in the producer role because you're talking about programming and there is so much programming around money, asking for money, being rejected about money. So I think this is really where we can apply it in the insurance space is what I do and who I am are two different things. And so you're talking about being the best in the world at what you do. You really have to start thinking about what characteristics would that person have? What actions would they take? I think is the first thing. And then the second thing that I want to comment on, Mike, was you talked about a 20,000 foot view. You talked about a higher mission. There is something that is bigger than yourself. I think those are the two fundamental things. If you want to create real lasting change, you have to adopt an identity that's in line with that mission. Those are the two things that you need.
I agree with you. And, what came into my head as I was listening to you, Courtney, is, vision is the art of seeing things that other people can't see.
That's literally what's behind us.
I have that exact same visual right here across the room. I love that.
Oh my God, I love that.
I love it.
That's so good.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's.
I hope that helps everybody that's listening out there, watching out there, because, you got this. And, we have this little fun visual that we created a number of years ago. They may not be able to see this, but what it is, it's a mirror, right?
Yep.
There's only one person standing between you and success. There it is. There she is. There's only one person standing between her and success, and it's Courtney.
Yep.
So, I mean, and so that's why it's so vitally important. If you want to jump into the agency, or I'm here to serve you guys however you want to go, you lead me. But, I encourage everybody, if you want to have more, and this is, we'll take an example, our director of welcome, our person who answers the phone, our quarterback who throws the calls, the emails, the texts, whatever, to our entire team of, 20 people, right? So, and she gets her, head chewed off by somebody who's having a bad day, right? I walk into the office one time and I look at her and I said, "You okay?" She goes, "Yeah, I just had so-and-so on the phone. He's being a jerk, blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Wow, you okay? How does that make you feel?" She goes, "Well, I feel bad for him." And I said, I did this for a lot of years. I said, "Well, hang on a minute." And I ran and grabbed a mirror, right? And I said, "You've seen this before." She goes, "Yeah, you show that to me all the time." I said, "Right? But can you imagine having to live with that?" She goes, "You know what? You're right. I'm on." So it's on them, not on her, right? So with that being said, I encourage everybody that I'm privileged to work with, if you want to have more, you have to become more, because you attract exactly what you are and who you've become. So we've got to exercise those daily habits. It starts with the daily habits, whatever those daily habits are. And, I get a lot of people who ask me, "Mike, how do you start your day?" I say, well, it's kind of a long answer. And I give them the longer answer, how I start my day. But, somebody said to me one time, "Well, how much time is that?" I said, let me time it. It's an hour and 15 to an hour and 30 minutes, And I haven't turned my phone on. I haven't looked at email or anything, because I'm making sure I've got this right and everything physically as well. Because if I don't, then I can't serve people at the highest level.
So I would love to, because I'm real big into morning routines, daily discipline. I have a 2-hour morning routine myself before I ever turn on my phone or check email or anything like that. So I would love to know, not necessarily what you do every single morning, and we can touch on that, but I would love for you to just touch on right now how you feel on the days that you stick with your daily disciplines and how you feel on the days that you don't do the daily routine.
That's a great question. So congratulations, by the way. I had something happen recently, and I have an accountability partner. And I've had an accountability partner for the last 11 years. And I get to report every Friday morning at 6 a.m. Pacific to my accountability partner on what's happened this week. And the 4 quadrants are your wins, your losses, your fixes, and your lessons. In my lesson column a couple of weeks ago, I wrote, some days once in a while, I just need to take a day off from exercise. Because I go hard and I give myself no excuses, And so I was out this morning. I'm going to actually head out a little bit after we get done, because I've got 82 miles on a bicycle up to Mount Soledad this coming Saturday. So I got to be ready. I got to be ready. But what I wrote down was, sometimes I just need a day off physically. Okay. So in answer to your question, Michael, I didn't feel bad that day because I identified that I just need to take a day off because I'm getting older, right? And as hard as I go, and I don't have any problem, knocking off 40, 50, 60 miles on a bike. I've got 2.2 miles around my block. I got hills where I live. So I run, I walk, I do what I do, but I push myself hard. So sometimes it's that self-identification of, okay, you need to take a day off, because when you do that, then you'll be better in the long run. And on the other days, once you give your body that time to rest, it doesn't make it. Here's the other thing. And this is probably hopefully the biggest takeaway. I don't take the day off from everything else. Right. And, remember our buddy Benjamin Franklin? People may or may not know this. He was the first millionaire in America, as an example. So you know how to do some stuff right. He also said, if you're failing to plan, you're planning to fail. Okay. So intentionally, when I left for the trip, I've got 3 books sitting right over there. 2 of them are kind of thick. So I just took a picture of the pages that I'm going to study. from 2 of the books, so I didn't have to drag the books all over the country. And one of them, I took one of them with me because it's so core for me to write down in that book. But anyway, I plan, and I plan so I don't miss. How do I feel again on the physical side? And if I ever miss the rest for whatever reason, yeah, I don't feel great. But I also heard something I've got a motivational calendar sitting right over here as well. And it came up like 6 months to a year ago. It said, don't look back unless you want to go there. And I also had somebody that we were traveling with over the last few days that asked me a question, and it kind of made me really think for a second. He goes, and he's not in our industry, he's outside our industry, but we invited him because we want to encourage him, right? He goes, are you thinking about next week? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, are you thinking about everything you got to do like after you get back and all that? And I said, no. He goes, you're thinking about the present, right? And I said, yeah. He goes, do you ever think about anything other than the present? I said, not really. I thought that was a very interesting question, right? Because the present is a gift, right? So we got to do the best we can with the present and just roll on. And so did that answer your question enough, Michael?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely does. I know, speaking from my own personal experience, I used to shame myself. Like if I didn't work out or I didn't accomplish my routine, I decided to sleep in and hit the snooze button. I used to shame myself and be like, oh, what a piece of shit. Like you're letting yourself down, man. You're lazy. And so that's something I've had to work through. And I'm definitely a better person on the days where I do my routine. But I have learned, again, sometimes you just need rest and it's okay. All right. And you can still do things and if you don't want to do anything, you know what? I'm cool with that too. Like what, Courtney?
As your wife, I'm going to jump in and see what I observe. So, and this was to Mike's point too. I think there's a difference between the justification and the bargaining that we make with ourselves and really listening and planning for rest. I think those are two different things. I think the other thing that I've watched you do in your morning routine was as long as you got it done during the day, then it was crossed off the list. Whereas before it had to be done by a certain routine or the day was shot. And now you've given yourself more permission to, I just have to get this done. To Mike's point, something that I've been working through, because we have a lot of things that are going on right now. Personally, professionally, we have a lot of big goals, is the reframe that I'm telling myself when I'm coming up on this, because I get to choose when these projects come in to either be overwhelmed and scattered, or I can take a breath and go, I'm prepared for this. I have plenty of time. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be very intentional. So I think in the insurance space, perspective is a huge gift, because you were talking about the present and it being such a gift. But it's also perspective of, yeah, you can look at the claims calls and the rate calls and all of these things, or you can take it for what it is, take a breath and know that you're capable. You can answer their question. You can use it as an opportunity. I think that's really what I'm hearing from you, Mike, is the perspective shift too, and how you look at things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I want to talk about confidence, because this is something that is built by action. And you're talking about it right now with your morning routine. So Michael asked, how do you feel in the days that you work out or that you do your routine, the days that you don't do it versus the days that you do? Have you seen a noticeable increase in how you perform on the days that you do your daily disciplines?
Depends on what I'm doing.
Okay.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
What makes the bigger difference, do you think, in your performance?
Well, if I'm doing something that's pretty physical, like speaking, you know, like if I'm on a stage, because I try to bring high energy, and I'm a high energy guy, right? So if I'm not very careful with my routine that particular morning, I might not be as effective in connecting with people and bringing the energy to the room. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. But if I'm in a situation where I am in a chair for 6 hours a day, as an example, sitting down and not moving around, you know, the difficulty of the morning routine doesn't affect that as much. Okay. But, as I listen to you, I think, looking back and I've really, really gotten into this. I'm going to say it's been a good 10 years, maybe a little bit more, since I've become very vigilant about this. And prior to that, I wasn't. But I didn't achieve at the highest level when I wasn't doing those daily habits, if you will. Okay. So what's been the business result and the personal results of being in those daily habits? I'm a better listener to my wife and kids and other people I hang around with. I can be more focused because I'm more settled mentally, right? Okay. Professionally, I'm better in the position that I'm in from a leadership role, from an ability to, again, listen. I mean, listening is, I think it's an underused art in many, many ways. And in our circles, we've come up 7-1. It's just not 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's 7-1, right? I'll share that with you very quickly. So we got 2 ears, that's 2, right? 2 eyes, that's 4, right? 1 mind, that's 5. 1 heart, that's 6. And 1 gut or soul, that's 7. Versus the 1 mouth, right? So when we're supporting our team or leading our team, because people are silently waiting to be led, and they're looking for a strong, confident leader. And so all of that's coming into play in this, right? So it just depends. And I've got a weekly rhythm register that I follow every week. And here it is. I got to do it, last night. And this is my book. I'll give you the one from last week. And, it's all here. I documented it. This is last week. And this is my weekly rhythm register, the things that I'm focused on.
Heck yeah.
I'm self-accountable and I'm held accountable by my, accountability partner as well. So that helps keep me on track, if you will.
Yeah. I love that you have an accountability partner. I think that that's so smart. I think that you're setting yourself up for success, but I want to get into today. I could talk about this all day long. All right.
Same.
But I want to get into the 3 P's. All right. The people, the processes, the promotions. Let's talk, share a little bit about what you've done to implement the 3 P's and what that's kind of done for you and any agents that may be struggling, what they could do with the 3 P's that you're talking about today.
Yeah. Let me just add on and we'll close the door a little bit on what we were just talking about for a bit. If I look back over the last 36 years as a proud independent insurance agent, 100% of the time, one of the things that I use as a thought process is there will be wins and there will be lessons. Okay. Lessons or failures. We're going to fail. It's just reality. And I will suggest over 36 years, I've probably failed or had lessons 3 times as many as the wins, right? Okay. If I've had wins, there's been 3 times as many failures or lessons. And then I learned from a billionaire that I studied under in 2007 outside the industry. I just want to go hear the guy talk about all of his things that he's been through for the day. He said, look, when something goes wrong, think about it like this. Nobody died. You can recover and move on. And I heard that and I said, a billionaire, right? This guy's got a lot figured out and he's had a lot of experience. And he said, you don't know what you don't know, and so many other things that day. So I said, nobody died. I can recover and move on. That gave me I'm not suggesting failure, but it gave me permission to fail and recover and move on. Right. So with that being said, back to the 3 P's. Excellent people, world-class processes and systems. Excellent people, world-class processes and systems. And then once you have that in place, you simply get to, it's a privilege, promote the heck out of it. And the result is when you operate within this mindset and systematic way of doing things, the results will be you will grow your business, create wealth. I mean, who's got better than we do in the independent insurance agency business? We get to grow these businesses that have a value. Yes, right? Grow, create wealth, and you'll have more freedom to live life on your own terms. I mean, kudos to you guys. I mean, getting ready for this event, I got the email from Wendy and the whole 9 yards. I mean, boom, 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 boom. You guys are well oiled, at least from my perception. So good job. Way to go.
We try.
Because ultimately, at the end of the day, as leaders and entrepreneurs, we should only be doing the things that only we can do. Right? So, that's why I wrote the book that I wrote, The Unstoppable Profit Producer, which chronicles the 3 Ps in quite a bit of detail, right? So the people are absolute critical to the success or non-success of your business. And where are you guys located anyway?
Yeah, so we're right outside of Kansas City.
Casey Mo.
Okay, Casey Mo. Cool. Forgive me for not looking that up. But anyway, so to the south of you in Texas, there's a guy, he wrote a book called Up Your Business. And I got that from my HVAC professional one day. He goes, Mike, I know you study, man. I got this book. And it's called Up Your Business by Dave Anderson out of Texas. And he goes, multiple times in the book, he goes, it's the people, stupid. It's the people, stupid. It is the people, stupid. Right? So we've got to make sure that we have a system for attracting, recruiting, interviewing, hiring, onboarding, training, motivating, and most importantly, getting the people to the ownership chair in your business or your agency business where they own everything they do. Okay? That's the people. And we've got that all systematized. We train people on it, et cetera, because that all came from my own wins and lessons. Right. So back to, what we were all talking about earlier. Well, what happens when it fails or it doesn't go right or somebody sneaks through the door? Because you guys probably know in the interviewing process, they tell you everything that you want to hear, right? Mm-hmm. They think you want to hear to what? Get the job.
Yep.
And then they sneak through. That's why we put in a 30-day sprint process. And we have a training program documented, and it's got mentors involved in every day of the training, et cetera, to make sure that we weed them out, because you've got to hire slower and do the work to evaluate them. Hire slower, but fire fast. Okay. Because like Simon Sinek said, clients can never love a company until the employees do. So you've got to make sure you have excellent people, right? And then the world-class processes and systems this is our way of doing things. We called it the SIA way, Stromsoe Insurance Agency way. It's the SIA way of doing things. It's our way. I mean, it may not be for everybody, but these are our processes. These are the way that we do things systematically. Part of our brand guide, because we created a brand guide for our entire organization, which is who we are. We had core values, a core process. It was all documented, and that's why we have team meetings to make sure that we keep up to speed on that. And we collaborate with people, what's working, what's not working for you. And we want to support you where it makes sense, right? So all of those processes and systems, and promotion, which is obviously, I got this big smile if you can see me. I love marketing. And I know what my top 3 talents, gifts, vital functions are, hands down. It is marketing. Marketing is one of them. I love it. I've studied for over 2 decades in big ways. So it's marketing. Okay. And I haven't said this in a while. So it's marketing, coaching, because I was positioned to do that separately, and marketing, coaching, and boom. Oh, sales. So marketing, coaching, and sales. Those are the 3 things that I love to do. And if I can operate within that realm 90% of my day, I come home. My wife said, honey, how was your day? Oh, it was off the stinking charts. Why? Because I was operating within the top 3 personal talents, gifts, vital functions the majority of the day. And you want to position your people to do that. Back to the promotions. So promotions are awesome in today's world. My greatest encouragement for people, if you want to reach 100% of the marketplace, you've got to use 100% of the ways. And it's hard. Okay. Because when I learned this in the early days, and then I created the 3 M's in our kitchen with our oldest son, who was working at a private school in leadership, And he came over to the house and he goes, "Hey, I got a question for you about marketing." I said, "Marketing? Go ahead." And he said, "Hey, we were trying to get new students into our private school. And so the school did a marketing campaign. They sent out a bunch of mailers to this list and we didn't get much of a response." I said, "Well, tell me about the piece. Tell me about the list. Tell me about this and that." And I identified when he got done that they didn't have well, I was already working on it. Everything happens for a reason, right? I said they didn't have the 3 M's operating in synchronicity: marketplace, message, and media. Right? So who is your marketplace? What's the message that you're going to be sending to that marketplace? And then the media is, how are you going to connect with them? And everybody likes to connect differently. So once I really started getting into this years ago, I was so fortunate to have a large family, and I got an even larger family now. We got 6 kids, 13 grandkids, and spouses, and all kinds of opportunity to learn about people. So I just use the family as the testing ground, and Mom liked the phone. My wife, she likes the phone first, but nowadays she likes text an awful lot. And everybody's got a different way they like to communicate. Oh, here's another one for you. This came out of the trenches earlier this year. Email and text is for information, but the phone is for communication. The phone, Zoom, or live face-to-face. I mean, true communication, right? So that's a little bit about the 3 Ps, and all of that was developed in our agency business. It's all systematic, and we have something we call the vault, which has, all of these items under each of the 3 Ps in the vault. And, people can just go in there and learn to their heart's content. We've got examples and lots of other stuff. So
Sure. So I want to dig into, and there's a lot of areas I could go with this, with the 3 Ps, but the thing that's sticking out to me right now is the promotion. So when talking about marketing, what is the one thing that you see most insurance agency owners and producers miss the mark on that you have seen has been something that absolutely every single person should be doing this type of promotion or market strategy to attain more market share?
We're talking new business or retention?
Let's do new business.
Okay. Out of my words, if you ever see me, get clients, keep clients, right? It's the simplest marketing plan known to man or woman, right? Yep. Get clients, keep clients. Okay. It happened this morning. It was more over on the retention side, but it's the same analogy. Thinking that I'm going to send an email for the follow-up and I don't get a reply, that I've done what I should be doing. I think that's the number one thing that people miss. I sent the person 5 emails, they didn't respond, so I've done my duty to try to close that. I absolutely disagree with that. Like I said, let's go back to email and text is for information, the phone is for communication. I think people don't use the phone enough. I think that depending on your ideal client avatar and the lifetime value of an account, which is how everybody should be thinking, you've got your value of an account. I mean, let's say it's $3,000, right? In annual premium, which is $500 in commission as an example. And you multiply that, how long are you going to keep your clients? Normally, how long? 6, 7, 8 years.
That's what you would hope. I would say 7.
Yeah, I think I use 6 in my examples, right? So 6, if the average commission is $500 per year, and you keep them at least 6 years, that's $3,000. So that's the true lifetime value of a customer. Okay. Mm-hmm. So to what extent are you going to go to earn that $3,000 time and time and time again? Okay. So, but back to the key item, your ideal client avatar. Who is your ideal client, and what's the value of that ideal client? Okay. So sure. I always suggest in Missouri, it may or may not. I'm not sure what the premiums are like in Missouri, but like in some areas, the premiums are quite high. Therefore, it takes less customers to, reach your goals as far as income, premium, and revenue is concerned. So with that being said, so email, don't hang your hat on email. And the other thing is from a, 5 to 10,000 foot level, as marketers, we test. You've got to test the market. Okay. And here's another thing for you. Are you a niche player or a generalist? And I'm revisiting a book that I studied probably 20 years ago right now. It's called High Probability Selling. High Probability Selling by Jacques Worth. And it's the art of disqualification. The art of disqualification. I learned that. I have a whole triple no-go sheet that I use myself. It worked like magic. The old joke, it worked so well I quit doing it, right? So it worked like magic. I mean, my goal was to quickly disqualify them as fast as I could. Because I only want to invest time on, I said invest, not spend. It's a mindset. Abundance mindset, scarcity mindset. I want to invest time with people that are going to potentially be the ideal clients that I want to, do business with for the next 20, 30 years. So
yeah, I would go on to say, Mike, just to add on to this, even if you're in the generalist model, you need to still have an ideal customer avatar that you are trying to attract. Even if you can write auto, renters, home, health, whatever, you can write every product line. Who do you want to be working with? All right. Is your ideal customer the ages of 30 to 40 with 2 young kids in the household, homeowner? They make an average household income of $160,000 a year. Like, who is it exactly that you want to be working with and attracting, even if you are in the generalist model? So I think that I just wanted to add that in because I think that that's super important. And to reiterate what you're saying, because I'm a firm believer in this, email, look, you're in the insurance business, you're in the people business, you got to be getting people on the phone, virtual appointments. Like, email just is not enough. Business to business, you may have some success with email, but for a majority of you working the business to consumer model, they're not even seeing your emails. You got to be utilizing the phone, the text message, literally every opportunity you have to get a hold of somebody, you have to be utilizing.
Well, and your ideal customer too, to go back to the generalist, if you want to connect, which is what we're talking about right now, actually connect with somebody and solve a problem, then you have to know what their problems are. What are their typical pain points? What keeps them up at night? Like, this is a huge part of marketing, is not only speaking to the solution, which I see insurance agents do all the time, speak to the problem, because that's the thing that they will connect with. So regardless of if you decide to niche down or not, you still have somebody that you're speaking to that has these problems. And even in your sales conversation and your follow-up, you can relate based on those emotions. Like, this is our job as insurance professionals, is to find a solution. We have to be able to connect and draw that out of people of what's their problem first.
Yeah. A problem solved is an opportunity for sale, right?
Yeah.
So, back to the promotional, and this is absolute key, especially in niches. Talking generalists versus niches, we have a marketplace research document. So you've got to go out and research the marketplace and find what wakes them up at 3:00 in the morning in a cold sweat. I mean, I was just working on a piece for agents this morning about, cyber insurance. I quit watching the news 11 years ago, but I guess the MGM had a cyber attack, which I wasn't aware of.
I heard that too. I did see it on the Twitter, I think.
No, my parents were in town.
Or was
this
it your
weekend.
parents that told us?
because they told us, because we didn't watch the news either. They're like, "Hey, did you see this?" I'm like, "Oh gosh."
Yeah. So anyway, that's a quick opportunity for, let's talk about cyber insurance. Did you hear about this? Mm-hmm. It's an outside third party thing, right? You're pointing to something else, not you or me. Look what happened. Let's make sure we eliminate this problem or potential. I mean, I got a letter in the mail from one of our investment companies yesterday about a cyber attack, a potential breach. I'm going, oh, wow. So I get to go through all that, but it is what it is, right? So back to the matter at hand. The other thing that I want to make sure we help people with here, and if can't write this down right now, make sure you go back and either watch or listen to this again. You've got to be answering this question every single day in every single way in every communication. Why? Why should somebody do business with you over and above any and all other options available to them? Why? Okay. And that's a whole big loaded answer, right? But they have options. They don't need you. They might have been referred to you, or they might have found you online, and they may or may not have liked what they see. And I'm going to piggyback on that. And you guys tell me when we need to wrap it up. Okay. But the beginning of the answer to that question is social proof. It's not what you say you've done for other people. It's what other people say you've done for them. And that's a whole big thing, Yeah, Google reviews, but live testimonials, video testimonials. Do you have a written guarantee? Is it a 1-page written guarantee or a 4-page guarantee? Do you have a live reference list? I mean, that's all stuff that we've created and use in that particular realm. So recently in a mastermind session with a bunch of our members, it came up about your online presence, because back to those ideal client avatars, right? Or the prospects, right? Why should they do business with you over and above any other options available to them? When they come to you, today's modern consumer is more educated about insurance than they ever have been before. They've checked you out online, and whatever they see online about you and they can find, what people perceive is what they believe, right? So your online presence. And one of our high performing agents who's really doing great things, got out of personal lines, went into commercial lines because of the marketplace and is killing it, right? He was talking about a business situation, and the guy came into his office and he said, hey, I'm happy to sit down. We can talk about what your needs are and everything else. And he goes, look, I don't have a lot of time. I've already fully vetted you online. I checked you out. I read the reviews. I've checked out your entire website. I probably know more about your website than you do. I'm here to do business. Let's get started. Because everything that I found online, I loved it. Your online presence, ladies and gentlemen, don't miss it. You've got to make sure that your online presence in today's digital world is rock solid. You've got to be taking care of your SEO platform. Your organic bank juice is what I teach. But, your SEO, I don't know what they call it, Google platform, Google Places, whatever they call it nowadays. You got to make sure that that's rock solid and that you're constantly touching it, making sure you're not missing anything, something hasn't changed. I mean, all of that is so vitally important.
I would agree. I think the online space is even more important than your physical location these days. I think it's extremely important. So, Mike, let's wrap this up. If someone wanted to get a hold of you, connect with you, follow you, what's the easiest ways to do this?
It's probably pretty easy. If you just go to that aforementioned Google and type in Mike, M-I-K-E. The last name is Stromsoe, S like Sam, T like Tom, R like Robert, O-M like Mary, S-O-E, and go, you're going to find a whole lot of stuff. I mean, I've got a podcast. I do a money making strategy series every week. We do live events. We do online training events. But if you want to learn more, you can go to unstoppableprofitproducer.com, unstoppableprofitproducer.com. You can learn more about myself and what we do. We train through our podcast. We train through our money making strategy series. I mean, go to YouTube. All of our money making strategy series and our podcasts are there on YouTube. So go to YouTube and just search Unstoppable Profit Producer. It'll come up. Go to videos and it's all there. So you can study to your heart's content. My passion is impacting the lives of agents personally and professionally. That's why I get out of bed. I've been so stinking fortunate in our progress in business in the last 36 years. I want to give back as much as I can. And that's what gets me out of bed. And I've got real stories about real agents where that has actually happened. And there's nothing that makes me happier. So if phone is your thing, it's 800-770-9984. So.
Perfect. Well, Mike, thank you so much.
Thank you. I mean, we connected through various channels, and for all the watchers or listeners out there, We've not met yet, so I'm so stinking happy we connected.
Absolutely. This has been great.
Our virtual headbutts too. I mean, like,
Virtual headbutts, let's go.
yes.
Oh shoot. And for all of those of you that are listening, thank you so much for your support. As always, time is the most valuable and important asset that we all have. We appreciate you spending time with us today. Mike, thank you so much again, my man.
Yeah, and let me encourage everybody with one last thought. And we were teaching down in Texas earlier this year. Everybody, you've only got 72 hours. You've only got 72 hours. If you got one idea from the podcast today, one idea, you've got 72 hours to implement it, because if you don't, it's never going to happen. So just take action. It'll lead to your next win or your next lesson. And you got this. We all believe in you.